Hola, I'm Sharon, a gringo with a Latina inside of me.
Hi, yo soy Carolina, su morocha latina.
Somos the Amigas.
Hablamos de la vida desde dos puntos de vista.
Me from up high.
Y yo desde que bajito.
In two languages and from two cultures.
Tan diferentes, pero a la vez tan iguales.
We meet in the middle to share our experiences.
Y nuestras herramientas para afrontar la vida.
Hi, today we're going to talk about stereotypes. Carolina tells me a lot of times that she knows a lot of stereotypes about us gringos, and I want to hear all about these stereotypes, and then we'll talk about some Latin stereotypes too. So tell me, Carolina, about one stereotype about us.
Bueno, hay muchos estereotipos. Lo que quiero aclarar es que estos estereotipos no son míos. No los inventé yo y yo no pienso así, no opino así. Y creo, bueno, como todo, es solo un estereotipo y creo que es una fama y no algo que en realidad es así en todos los casos. Algunos sí los creo.
Right. So these are not our stereotypes or our beliefs, just to clarify. This is just what's out there, things we've heard, and is there any truth to them?
El primero creo que todos los gringos creen que todos los latinos somos mexicanos. Y ese sí es verdad.
No, that's not true. That's so funny. I wrote that down on my list. Everybody, because I made a list of stereotypes for Latinos. And I was like, all gringos think that Latinos are Mexican. Just to be funny. And you took it from me. So that one goes both ways.
Both ways. Porque voy con uno más específico dentro del mismo área, es que los gringos no saben de geografía. Y eso es verdad.
Absolutely. I can say that as a teacher. Nobody knows geography. I pulled up the map today in class because no one knew where Costa Rica was. Class of 25. And they're in school studying. It's not like they've been out of school for 20 years. You're talking to an adult. And I always start with the map. So I pull up Google and I start with, here we are in the United States. And from here, reference where Costa Rica is or where Mexico is, right?
Sí, bueno, y mis hijos no saben ni siquiera de geografía de los Estados Unidos. Ellos no saben que hay 50 estados. Ellos tienen la información, pero no los ubican en un mapa.
Really?
Y podemos hacer la prueba.
I'm about to go home and quiz my child.
Porque generalmente no saben dónde quedan aquí las regiones, los estados de los Estados Unidos. Y eso es algo que es un estereotipo, pero que he comprobado que es cierto. ¿Qué tanto nos sirve a los latinos saber de geografía? No sé, porque todos estamos jodidos sabiendo de geografía.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, so do Venezuelans know geography?
Bueno, en mi caso yo tenía un profesor que todos los días nos paraba, tenía dos mapas grandes, un mapa mundi y un mapa de Venezuela. Y en el mapa de Venezuela, todos los días llamaba a 4 o 5 estudiantes a que se pararan en el mapa delante de todos. Y él decía el nombre de un río o de un pueblo. Y lo tenías que señalar en el mapa.
How old were you when you had to stand up in front of the class?
En high school.
And have these quizzes.
En high school, en cuarto, quinto año, que es 11th and 12th grade, de aquí más o menos.
Wow.
Y perdías puntos si no lo sabías o ganabas un punto si lo sabías. Pero no era que te preguntaba un estado o una ciudad, te preguntaba un río.
Right. Where is this river? Where is this mountain?
Por eso es que estamos jodidos en Latinoamérica.
That is crazy. I can't even imagine. And then I don't really know when I learned geography because I went to Catholic school and they didn't teach us all 50 states. I remember, there's a song. Maybe you learn it in 4th or 5th grade. I didn't learn that song. They were too busy teaching me religion and morals and worrying about, whether my parents were married before I was conceived, which is a totally different story. that the nuns used to criticize me for because my parents conceived me out of wedlock. Yeah. So I was like cursed for life. You know what I mean? They were so worried about that. They didn't teach us the 50 states. But I don't know how I learned it. But I guess because I like to travel and I'm just naturally curious. I know where most of these things
Porque
are.
tienes 3 latinas dentro de ti.
Yeah, that's why. And because I had to know about Latin America. Like, that's always been really important to me. So I had to know where all these things were.
¿Y cuál es un estereotipo de los latinos?
Oh, where should I start? Okay, so this one I have to clarify all the time in my classes. Everyone has... Todos son morenos, right? Everyone has dark hair, dark eyes, dark skin. My students can't imagine like a blonde Latina. You know what I mean? So that's, I think that's something we get wrong.
Sí, eso no es cierto.
Right.
En toda Latinoamérica hay rubios o catires, como se le diga, güeros, como tú. Ojos claros, ojos verdes, ojos azules. Es una mezcla muy, muy grande que hay en toda Latinoamérica.
Oh, well, even though I'll show them like, look, here's an actress from Spain, or look, here's somebody from Argentina, or look, I try to think of, now I can't think of any famous people, but you like list people, right? I show them Joanna Hausman, right? Look, she's Venezuelan. What are you guys talking about? She has red hair and light eyes. But I just think that's something that we think in general, but maybe it's because we don't know geography and, maybe we just don't know people can mix.
You're figuring it out now, que se puede mezclar.
Well, some people don't know that, though? Some people, did I ever tell you that story?
Bueno, aparentemente en Inglaterra lo acaban de descubrir con Meghan Markle.
Yeah.
¿De qué color va a salir el niño?
That's true. Yeah.
No sabían que se podía mezclar. ¿Qué era el cuento que me ibas a echar?
When I had Nina, my daughter, and we were obviously, she's my daughter, we were in the grocery store, she was a baby, and she's mixed, so I'm very blonde and have blue eyes, and she's got dark skin and curly hair and brown eyes, and this woman asked me in the grocery store, she said, "You have to tell me, where did you get your baby?" And I said, "Oh, she's mine. She came from me." And she said, No, dear. Like, where did you get her? And I said,
Baby
she's mine. She said, "No, my daughter just adopted a baby from Guatemala." She said, "So it's okay. You can tell me." And I said, "Oh, no, lady, this baby came out of my body. She is mine." And she was like, oh, her face got all big and her eyes got white. I don't really think she knew that you could do that.
Y le explicaste todo.
Yeah. I mean, she was like an older white lady and I was in a white neighborhood and I guess she just was like, really, you can do that? But we're here to bust all those myths. Yes, you can.
Yo creo que ella quería detalles de cómo la hiciste.
Maybe she did. Maybe she needed something for later when she was alone.
Bueno, eso es un estereotipo de que los americanos, de que los gringos son racistas. Cosa que yo no creo que es cierta. Pero en línea general, creo que se piensa eso.
Yeah. I mean, generally, I can see where one would get that idea as a stereotype. But, I mean, really, we know that's not true, right? I mean, I guess you could say that, I think you could say that about anyone in any country, right? I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe we're not accepting, or maybe we're not that warm to tourists and travelers. Do you think that's where it comes from? Or do you think it comes from, like, our former president?
No, creo que es antes de Trump. Sí, creo que es como un estereotipo en general. Yo creo que comparado con Latinoamérica es que aquí se habla del racismo y por en los países latinoamericanos o en el caso de Venezuela, creo que es más el clasismo que el racismo. Eso es algo diferente. Y como estamos tan mezclados.
Right. It's more of like an economic or an education or a class thing in Latin America that stands out. But also, I think here's a different perspective, right? If you asked another American from the United States, right, about racism that wasn't a white woman, they may be able to tell you a very different story, right? So, have I experienced racism directed at me? I can't think of an example off of the top of my head. Have I witnessed my child experience it, or her father experience it, or other people experience it? Yes, absolutely. But racism against white women doesn't, well, it's starting to happen thanks to Karen, right? But it's just not, you know what I mean? Like, it's something that, thank God, I haven't had to experience, but it's not something, you know, it's something I definitely feel like I have to stand up against and speak out against. But, you know, so maybe it's hard for me to relate to that.
No, yo creo que sí te puedes relacionar en eso porque por tu hija y por todo lo que tú has viajado y todo lo que tú has vivido, creo que te da una visión más amplia de ese concepto y que lo puedes mirar desde varios puntos de vista, siendo tú una mujer blanca americana.
Well, that's true. The other thing is you know, when we've talked about this as well, I think Americans, like, we're uptight, right? So, for example, what do you call your children as a term of endearment? What does everybody call you?
Mis negritos.
Right, just negritos. And we would never, like, use that as a nickname, right? In, like, like, if I walked around and translate to English, right? If I called my daughter, like, my little Blackie, people are going to be like, oh, there's something wrong with this lady in our culture, right? But I feel like the Spanish culture, you call the fat kid gordito, and you call the darker kid negrito, and right? But in our culture, you can't do that. That's bullying. You know, we're so sensitive.
Sí, eso sí es verdad.
But it's, are we sensitive or are we just uptight? Like,
no sé, pero siento que cada vez es peor. Y de esta nueva generación son, que los llaman la generación de cristal, es por eso, porque no se les puede decir nada, no se puede nombrar nada, porque ya es ofensivo. Todo es ofensivo. Y en Venezuela, por lo menos, gorditos de cariño, el negro, el catire, todo eso es más bien de cercanía, de cariño, no
there
es
are terms of endearment. But no, I guess we just don't see it that way. But at the same time, you know, we still tease and pick on our children. Like, I'll tell you right now, Nina, my daughter, is quarantining because of COVID, and every time she passes by her grandfather in the house, he says, "Ew, you have cooties. You're disgusting." Like,
oh, pobrecita Nina.
And she's just like, "Shut up, whatever," and rolls her eyes. So we still pick on her, and we still name call. But I think
es diferente, otro tipo.
Yeah.
Pero, bueno, para aclarar, tu hija no tiene COVID, solo que estuvo expuesta.
Yeah.
Se cree que se estuvo expuesta, cosa que no creemos. Y eso me hizo recordar que cuando yo era pequeña, nunca había vivido obviamente una pandemia, pero al que tuviera piojos, lice, se le decía, ¡Ew, piojosa, no te acerques! Eso era como era la pandemia de mi época.
Right, it's the same thing. But I think because we're so crystal, right? This generation is like glass. I wonder how many things will be said at home behind closed doors and kept secret and not come out. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you and I, our generation, even though you're from Venezuela and I grew up here in Pennsylvania, right? I'm very gringo. We're still, like, I feel like one of the things we have in common is we're both so outspoken, right? And not afraid to say just whatever.
No tenemos filtro.
No, we don't. Exactly. No filters here. So I hope we can pass that on to our children made of glass. In this
Bueno,
generation.
yo creo que por lo menos en el caso de mi hija, sí, y creo que tu hija también, que ellas, por lo menos Andrea, mi hija, no tiene filtro.
No. She doesn't have a filter, and she doesn't have a poker face either, which is great. But I always think, like, when I was a teenager, my mouth got me in trouble. And I want her to speak up, but I don't want her to get in too much trouble.
Pero yo nunca me he metido en problemas porque nunca fui contestona, ¿sabes? Like, que
Disrespectful?
Sí, y que hablas de vuelta a un adulto. Like,
You
le
didn't
tienes una
talk back,
Ajá.
and you spoke with respect.
Sí.
Oh, I should have learned that sooner.
Y nunca levanto mi voz.
Never? No,
A otros, a mis hijos le levanto la voz todo el día, todos los días.
That's necessary parenting, for sure. Any other stereotypes, you think?
Dime tú, de latino.
I don't know. I was trying to think of some, and I was thinking about, like, women in, well, and I had a friend tell me this too, but, like, women in Latin culture and on TV. Like, you always see Latin women are so sexy and curvy and dressed in tight clothes and things like that. Right? It's a stereotype.
Es un estereotipo, eso no es cierto. Creo que en general las latinas son un poco más acomodadas, no acomodadas, esa no es la palabra, más coquetas. Se maquillan más, se arreglan un poquito más en general que las americanas. Pero no es como lo ponen en las películas. Que el maid, la persona de servicio está toda fit y está vestida espectacular. No es así. Y creo que sí, que eso es algo que las películas y las series venden a las latinas como una bomba sexy todo el tiempo.
Right.
Y creo que no es que no lo sean, pero creo que le resta a la imagen de la latina, porque ese sea el factor más importante de la personalidad, y no que sean inteligentes, que sean valientes, que sean aguerridas, que también lo son.
Right.
No solo son bellas y brutas.
Right. And that's how they sell. I mean, sex sells anyway, right? They sell women like that all the time. But I do feel like it is, always out there, that they're always dressed and the boobs are pushed up and the makeup is on. And me coming from a point of view of never wearing makeup, it just doesn't, I feel like that's one of the stereotypes that are out there,
bueno,
for sure.
Pero yo creo que yo rompo con el estereotipo, porque yo tampoco uso mucho maquillaje.
I've seen you get dressed up and look really nice, but no, you
Pero
don't.
yo a ti también.
No, but you don't need any makeup. So.
No hablemos de caras.
Oh my goodness. Any more gringo stereotypes that you have, amiga mía?
Bueno, no de los gringos, pero sí sé de los latinos que eso también lo ponen en las películas, en las series, que los latinos somos muy escandalosos, que hacemos mucha bulla. Y eso es verdad. ¿Sabes que en las películas latinas como que donde están los latinos es la bulla, la música, hablan duro?
And that's you're saying that's true.
Totalmente.
Outspoken, loud.
Super loud.
Fierce women.
And men.
And men.
And kids. Todos somos super loud.
Really?
Eso sí es cierto. Yo misma me doy cuenta cuando hay latinos y digo, ahí estamos.
That's true. But gringos, no?
No. Los gringos son callados y ordenados.
Oh, yeah. We're rigid, I think, right?
Sí, sí.
Rigid and well-behaved, perhaps? No.
Oh, sí.
Yeah.
Oh, sí, en línea general, sí son, la mayoría.
Well.
Por eso este país funciona.
Well, I'd agree with that, except for maybe in school. Like, maybe someday we should talk about, in the future, schools and how they're different from culture to culture, right? Because, well, now it's different because we're in a pandemic. But I do think American kids are crazy in school. But then maybe once we get out of school, we learn how to be very, stand in a line and be very organized and follow the rules, right?
Sí, totalmente.
We're boring rule followers. As gringos.
No creo que sea boring, creo que funciona, creo que debemos aprender los latinos de eso.
Yeah.
Y empezar a hacer la línea.
Yeah, well, and then we can learn from you how to have a little more fun.
Bueno,
Yeah.
para eso estamos juntas.
What's that?
Para eso estamos juntas aquí, hablando de nuestras culturas, para
Yeah.
fusionar lo bueno
To
de
put
los
it
dos
together.
mundos.
And when I understand you, did you see how I just lost Spanish there for a minute? No entendí nada. But,
Seguiremos practicando.
yeah, well, that's what this is for, right?
Así
Para
es.
practicar el español.
Y el inglés.
Yeah.
Bueno, salud por eso, amiga.
Yeah, salud por eso. Cheers to this, and until la próxima vez, until the next time.
Así será. Hasta la próxima.
Oh, so broso.